Welcome everyone to a special episode of Conversations in the Void. I know it's not Wednesday, it's Monday. Don't worry, we have you covered. I am producer Sans today. He is out sick, so make sure to say hi to Salem in the comments below this video. But I'm pleased to welcome our guest tonight, actor, director, vocalist, and writer with works including Vicious Fray, Sausage Delivery, and Sweet Killing Machines. Please welcome to the Void, the one and only Austin Galante. How you doing tonight?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. You know, we've been talking about this, and you know, we had the snafu because personal life gets in the way of real life sometimes. I wish it didn't, but glad to have you here.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for taking the time.
Of course, I love your shirt too. I love the Venom and Spider-Man, by the way.
Awesome.
I am a huge nerd as well.
I like it too.
So Austin, so before we get in kind of meat and potatoes, like, you know, you consider yourself like a horror fan overall?
I do like horror, yeah.
Okay.
I like a lot of horror, not all horror, but yeah, I like a lot of horror movies.
So I have these questions kind of to gauge where your highs and lows are for horror. So first and foremost, obviously, what's your first horror movie you recall seeing?
Critters, maybe, or Ghoulies. I can't remember which would be first. But yeah,
okay.
I think, or well, were they my first? Poltergeist maybe I don't know, could have been my first.
Okay.
But I'm not actually sure I've ever watched Poltergeist the entire way through because I was so young when I saw it. Like I was probably like 8 or something.
Yeah, and that's fair. My wife, she loves the Poltergeist series, but she hates Poltergeist 3 because of all the mirrors in the hotel room that Carolyn stays in. She refuses to have mirrors pretty much inside her house to this day, 30 years later, 37 years later.
That's funny.
So it's hysterical because like my daughter has a mirror. She's like, I got a new outfit. I have to go check myself out. Well, that means if you go look in the mirror. Oh. She refuses to do that. So yeah, I said Poltergeist, love it. Critters, Ghoulies, love Critters to no end. They are the classic monster creatures parodying off of Gremlins.
Yeah, Ghoulies messed me up as a kid, man. I had a hard time. I went to the toilet for a long time, especially at night when it was dark, man. I was like,
oh yeah. Yeah. Did you ever see kind of like the Roger Corman version of Ghoulies, which was Munchies?
I have seen the cover. I don't know if I actually saw it or not. Sometimes, I mean, throughout my life, I have rented movies and watched them drunk and don't remember them. And it's possible that's one of them, but I'm not sure. It didn't stick in my brain. I do remember seeing the cover of it. I don't know if I saw it though.
Yeah, they're essentially like what if Gremlins, but like more R-rated.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's a weird foray into that, you know, small creature feature that I love to no end. Like I said, love Gremlins, Critters 1, 2, 3, and 4. The newest one that came out a couple years ago, not so good, but you know, it is what it is.
I didn't see that one. I think I saw 1 and 2, and then I don't know if I saw 3.
That means you missed Leonardo DiCaprio's first feature film.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'll have to look into that one and see. Because I'm pretty sure I didn't see it. I don't remember though. Maybe I did. Maybe, probably not.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in it.
Yeah, that was his first feature film. So I think he was just had done Growing Pains and did Critters 3 then.
Really? Critters? I'm just looking it up. Critters 3.
Yeah.
I see the cover. Let's see. I don't know. I can't remember if I saw it or not. There's a number of those like sequels, like Leprechaun. I saw 1 and 2, and then maybe I saw 4, maybe I didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they start to kind of blur together, and a lot of times I watch horror movies when I'm drunk just because it makes them funnier.
Oh, easily does. I do another show with my producer. We review horror movies 3 or 4 a week, and sometimes the movies cause us to drink because they're so.
Yep.
So we have to take notes because we're just going. I don't remember what happened. I drank myself to black out because this movie was so bad.
Yeah.
But kind of on that note, do you have anything that is like an underrated gem to you that if you find out, like, say, I didn't see X movie, you're like, okay, now you have to sit down and watch this?
I always tend to recommend Let the Right One In
Mm-hmm.
and Pontypool.
Yes.
Um, I don't know if The Hunt isn't really like an underrated movie, but I really like that movie. It's not really a creature movie, but I think it's a pretty awesome, like realistic horror movie.
It's a good satirical film,
Yeah,
politically
yeah,
satirical in the right ways.
yeah. I really enjoyed it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
don't know. Underrated.
I mean, Pontypool is pretty underrated because let's face it, spoilers are it's just words,
Yeah,
not a whole lot of things actually being seen. It's all
yeah, I love that.
third-hand accounts.
I love that kind of movie. I really like dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm entertained with that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah,
and Let the Right One In was really cool, I thought. Evil Dead is one of my, favorite movies. I tend to watch like once a year or something.
I do have an entire Evil Dead half sleeve. My son's name is Ash William.
It's not really underrated, so
Yeah. But then
um,
on the reverse side, is there anything that you said you don't like, necessarily like all horror movies that's just so overrated you don't understand its popularity or why it's making so much money?
uh, uh, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've never watched the Terrifier movies. It's because I think it's like I'm not huge on just like incessant gutting, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So some of it's okay, like if it's in there here and it adds to the story. But if the story, to me, if the story is like it's just about gutting people, then it doesn't interest me as much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't totally get that one because from what I gather, it's like just an insane amount of gutting. But
Yeah.
a lot of people like just brutal, gory, over and over slasher horror movies. So I,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think the first Terrifier, the prequel All Hallows Eve, were good independent, low budget, practical effect movies. But as more money has been thrown at it, you're right. It's about the kills and it's not about the story. And people can
yeah,
argue that, yeah, the kills are great. I mean, don't get me wrong, the kills look great. They look
yeah,
good for practical effects. It reminds me of Friday the 13th. But if you say Friday the 13th Part 6, people are going, okay, it's just about the kills, not about the story.
right,
And we're
yeah,
at that point with Terrifier in a relatively short amount of time, I feel.
yeah. I mean, didn't like the first one come out like 4 years ago or something?
Uh,
Five, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think All Hallows Eve was like 2014 and 2016 was Terrifier. Then it took like 6 years for the second one to come out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's been 10 years, I guess.
Yeah. But I'm saying like number wise, it just there. I talked to a lot of horror people and amazingly a lot of people go Terrifier 3, not so good.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
So it's interesting that like the people that are making the horror movies and stuff like that aren't as interested in the franchise anymore, but the general populace is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like to me like the Saw movies where like I like
Mm-hmm.
the first two and then it just was kind of like, all right, well, you just keep putting people in the room and tearing them apart. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
Although I do want to see Spiral. I don't know if it was good or not, but no, not at all.
not at all, not in the slightest.
No, I thought maybe Chris Rock might help it out.
No, it's
Nope.
we did when Saw 10 came out, we did the whole recap of everything. We watched them within like 3 days. You watch 10 Saw movies in 3 days, you realize that it's get progressively worse.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can't remember if it was like Saw 5 or something. I I watched. I don't know if I made it all the way through. I can't remember, but I just remember being like, well, I feel like it's run its course, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, awesome. Let's pivot kind of into you. So, how did you get into acting? Was there any movie, TV show that made you want to go? I want to do this for my life.
I don't think there was any specific TV show necessarily. I just always thought it seemed like fun,
Hmm.
like getting to take on characters. I like character acting. I think it's entertaining to try and become something, right? Like,
Right.
um, no matter what it is. But yeah, ever since I was a kid, I thought it looked like fun. But I lived in a small town in southern Iowa, and
Hmm.
there's not a lot of acting, especially when I was a kid, going on there. So I always kind of wanted to move to New York or LA, but I got into a band when, yeah, I don't know, in my um, like 19 or something. I was in some music groups when I was in my teens, and then got
Hmm.
into a band, and we started touring around the country, and did that for a while, and then we ended up moving out to LA, and our manager out there was a music supervisor, so she knew a lot of people in film and stuff, and I kind of fucked up. I took it, um, didn't really treat it like I should have. I was too busy like partying and
Hmm.
getting, drunk and chasing around, and um so on the side I was also doing acting stuff, you know, applying to whatever I could and
Yeah.
trying to doing a lot of auditions, and I got to do some stuff, some interesting stuff, some not so interesting, some commercials that I
Hmm.
like, and a lot of extra work. But it was interesting, and it was neat to get to see, you know, how things work and be on a set with, million dollar or $100 million sets or whatever, like walking around walking around MGM lot and Paramount lot and Disney lot, and like it's
Hmm.
just neat, seeing just like neighborhoods that are just fake, right? Like just houses
Yeah.
everywhere, and like the buildings, and getting to go inside of the buildings, and it was cool. It was neat.
Yeah.
Um
That's
Obviously, go ahead.
Oh, so that's really cool. I'm not that far outside Chicago, but I started acting, in my own sketches and skits as probably 12. I remember watching Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. My buddy had a camcorder, so we started making our own Halloween parody things. Went to high school, did drama and theater for all 4 years, and then I stopped when I left high school until a couple of years ago when I got back into it, doing streaming, producing, directing, and writing again. And that's how I gained part of the horror dads. Is I was talking to them on a couple of shows and like, hey, you come out on set one day. All right, cool. Went down there middle of a pot field filming. I go, okay, this is pretty fun. I missed this. I get to see other people's take on it. And then since then, this has been about 2 years ago. I just like, all right, doing this as all my fun stuff now is, hey, I'm gonna go disappear for a weekend, wife and kids, have fun. If I'm not back, avenge me.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. I liked doing music videos and stuff, and like
Hmm.
coming up with weird, fun things to try and film. I didn't really get into the crew side, or behind the camera side of it. I mean, I was writing ideas and like coming up with ideas for videos and stuff. And then, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, I decided to start kind of learning how to do it
Hmm.
myself and practicing. And so I started doing more of that and doing some narrative, some of it was just like goofing around. It's just kind of
Hmm.
different, maybe trying to make interesting just scenes or shots and playing with lighting and,
Yeah.
messing with stuff like that. And then eventually I started doing more narrative stuff.
Hmm.
And then essentially the only thing that changed there was just kind of going from no 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 sound on set to all right, now we have lavs and boom mics. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know, a little different, but
A little bit. Yeah. It's amazing, and nothing against people that film only with their cell phones, but cell phone quality gets you cell phone quality. And there's a
yeah.
huge difference versus having lapels and boom mics and just pick up what your camera gets, because we all start off with the handheld, right? We all don't get to have the fancy, cool stuff right away. So,
Yeah, yeah.
at that point in time, I think it's great that people are just making movies. Like I said, do it on your cell phone. It's, you're going to get the quality you get out of it, but you're still making a movie. You're still putting the thought and effort to it, and still takes a lot of time and patience and directive, because you can, you know, goof around all day, but you still have to make something by the end of it. And that's the most important part of it, is just to do it. Right.
Yeah, it's definitely, good practice, right? You're
Hmm.
learning a lot of things about how to put it together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
Yep.
We all did.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, like, I was, when we were filming something last year, someone gifted me old, like, 90s camcorders. And
Oh,
I'm just
crazy.
going, you know what? Yeah, like, my parents never bought that shit for me growing up. I'm like, but now, instead of doing the filters, the AI generative stuff, I'm like, I actually want to do it on that camera to
Is it
capture
like
that
high
quality.
is it like high eight tape or what is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. So I want to do that. I have technology to do that, to capture it, to edit it, just like you would anything else, as most people can. I go, why not? Why not film something set in the 90s, filmed with 90s technology in 2025, 2026?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. When I was in high school, we had those. I don't remember what they were called, but you would shoot on the camcorder with VHS, right?
Hmm.
Are you talking about camcorders with VHS or like camcorders with high eight or
I think it's just, oh, it's high. One's high eight, one's VHS.
okay.
Yeah.
We had the things where you could take like two tapes and then you could put them in and like edit it together.
Yep.
It was super terrible. I didn't really like at that point. I was like, this sucks. I don't
Hmm.
like this at all. So, do you have one of those editing machines to edit it like
No,
that, or
I
how are
don't.
you going to do it?
I should be able to capture it. Maybe I don't have the capture technology. I have to look into that. That reminds me. I have a list going of what I need, so we'll determine if the wife lets me get it or not. But VHS obviously is easy. VHS is easy enough to do.
Yeah, I've
So
never. I mean, I made like a terrible music video with VHS when I was in high school, but other than that, that
yeah,
was that was my the one and only.
yeah, I was a backyard wrestler in the 90s, and we recorded on the small cassettes, and we now have our stuff restored in 4K. So
That's crazy. I don't even know if I don't think I have the tape anymore. I don't even know.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I don't, but it could be in some box somewhere, and I just totally forgot about it.
Yeah. What my goal is, I started writing these out, is I want to do decades of horror where I film in that style of each decade. So the 1920s,
Crazy.
stuff like that, and just try to do it in this perspective. Like 1920s is, there's no talking, there's no sound. It's all after the
Yeah,
fact. You have the title cards, and everything's kind of rust colored and just slow and drawn out, like it's a live theater production on stage,
yeah.
over, blown up makeup, bushy eyebrows, all hell, and stuff like that, just to do it. And we have that plan for, like, essentially 100 years worth of horror that we want to do.
That's awesome. That'll
So
be
yeah,
neat.
our goal is to have my goal is to have something like that and have different people direct it. But like I said, try to do it as close as the original aesthetics that we possibly can. Like, the Universal Monster era, it's going to be on, everything's going to be black. It's going to be paper, cardboard crosses and tombstones and trees, but still do it that way.
Right? Yeah, that'll be cool.
So
That'll be fun to watch.
yeah, I'm sure some people will not like it because people are like, well, Robert Eggers is able to do a gothic vampire movie in modern technology, and that's fair, but that's the aesthetic he wants. I'm like, I want that Universal backlot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll be cool.
So also with all the stuff you worked in, whether it's short film or music videos or feature film, do you have like a preference in the media and the genre type that you like to work in the most?
Well, I think I like shooting movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my favorite out of all, but the way I'm making movies, I'm getting to do a lot of the things. I'm getting to make music for them, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting to do a lot of stuff. I'm getting to write and all this. So I think that's part of why I like making movies is that I get to play with all these different arts. I wish I had a little more time to do uh, some of the more creative things because I paint too, and like I like making costumes and
Yeah.
props a little bit here and there, like
Yeah.
it's fun. But like there's so much other business shit that I end up having to do that it takes away time where I'm like, fuck, I'm like racing to try and get this,
Mm-hmm.
prop made or whatever. And maybe sometimes I don't have time to do it or whatever. But I think making movies, and then what was the second half of that question?
Genre. Do you like prefer genre? Because you've
Oh,
done
genre.
comedies, crimes, horror, thrillers.
Um, Currently I'm doing comedies. But the first one was a crime comedy that I
Mm-hmm.
made, extremely low budget film, and this one, Sanguine Teeth on a Driftless Road, is a horror comedy. The next one that I'm doing is kind of a thriller comedy, and I I don't I don't know that I always want to make comedy, but I like being silly, and my mom likes comedies. I know this sounds kind of weird, but like she's getting a little older, and I was kind of want to make some movies that I feel like she might enjoy too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Not that she would probably enjoy a drama too, but like I know she likes comedies and stuff. So, I think that that's kind of fun. But at some point, I would like to do like a serious drama. Um, and the movie I just did is a horror movie, but it's just like kind of right on the edge of, of horror. Like people who don't watch horror movies would be like, okay, that's a horror, like it's a comedy horror movie. But
Mm-hmm.
people who like horror movies are going to be like, I don't know if that's really a horror movie. I mean, I think if you watch the whole thing, because there's enough people that get like, you know, torn
Yeah.
apart or whatever, like
Yeah.
but it's a long movie, right? It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. So it's like there's only a few killings in that time. So it's not like, an incessant amount of horror. It's not
Right.
scary at all.
Yeah.
Like even the killings are funny. They're not, it's not like
Right.
you're never on the edge of your seat in the movie. Not once.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, like some of the quintessential best horrors are horror comedies. Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Shaun of the Dead. Tucker and
Yeah.
Dale versus Evil. They
Yeah.
always are on that edge, but the kills are laughable. You laugh
Yeah.
out loud.
Yeah, they're laughable. They show more in those movies, right? Like people you see like guts getting ripped out and like heads
Yeah.
getting chopped and thrown and on spikes and stuff like that. There's there's like a tiny bit of that, that some heads get cut off and whatever, but like it's just not a lot. I still think it's a horror movie, but like I mean, if Psycho's a horror movie, then this is definitely a horror movie.
Well, and that's the thing. You can have, the movies that expand multiple genres, because Silence of the Lambs is a crime thriller horror. There's a lot that, I have this debate with my producer all the time. Is Aliens a horror movie? First one is. I'd say second one is action first, though. And then it's not, because the first one's a slasher. Alien is a slasher. And that's progressive step to it, but it's still action, sci-fi, horror.
No, Alien's a great movie, especially it's a good slasher.
Yeah.
I think it's part of it for me is for slashers is if like the story is compelling, new, different, it keeps my interest. Whereas if it's like Jason 14, I'm like, yeah, right, I saw him kill a whole lot, or like I've seen him slash up a bunch of people. So I just like new, different ideas that are like, oh, I haven't seen this before. I'm in it, I want to know what's coming next. That's why sometimes when I know there are a lot of purists out there who like read the books or the like comics or whatever it is, and then if the story deviates or changes or the character's a different color or whatever it is, right? Like they'll get really mad and like, this sucks. It's nowhere near as good as the thing. But I like being surprised. And I know I think a lot of writers probably go like, well, that's been done. How can we like make it different so that the audience isn't just going like, I know what happens next.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's very crucial when the stuff that I have written that with my co-host and I that we're working on, and I'll write something out and I'll have other people of horror dads and other people read it. I go, all right, I've watched way too many movies in my life, and I don't want to be inadvertently taking the idea that someone's already done. So I go, has this been done or in this way? If the answer is yes, it has been done this exact way, it's I'm like, I'm not doing it. That's my personal goal, is to create something new. It's just like you said, it's because you want people to go, that's not going to happen, or I don't think that's going to happen, and then subvert the expectations.
We me and Douglas Montoya, who's the actor in the film, and he helps do a lot. He does sound and stuff in the film, and we had been working on putting together ideas for a movie called The Director's Cut.
Okay.
And it's going to be a horror movie, a little bit of a slasher, but comedy. And then like we got pretty much the whole story arc. I did a lot of the story arc. We got together drunk and we like threw some ideas around, and then I put together this complex story, of twists and turns. And then like 7 or 8 months later, I saw like in the film world, somebody just shot the director's cut and is like, the movie's gonna come out now sometime soon. I'm sure the story is like probably nothing like what we wrote, but I'm still just like, I don't think that I'll do it, because I mean the name was sort of like the punchline, right? Like, I don't know, but...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Full of twists and turns, but it feels too much like, they're gonna think I'm ripping off,
Oh yeah, the same thing happened. I was working on a vampire movie that's gonna be classic vampire lore set in New Orleans. Sinners comes out.
They're like,
I'm
a little
Sinners. I'm like, nope, no, it's not Sinners.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like when I saw it because this movie's been written and copyrighted for like year and a half, whatever. And my mom calls me like when Sinners came out 3 weeks ago or something, and she goes, "Did you see that they just made a movie about a bunch of black vampires?" And I was like, "Yeah, I saw that. It's not going to be anything like this one, but yeah, I saw it." Because this movie hinges upon four black vampires who go on a road trip together, and
Mhm.
they go to a cabin in the woods.
But no, I mean, there's not. Like I said, talk about the Nexus Horror. There's nothing wrong to homages, but you can say because that's we see people our age that are directing stuff are making stuff that they liked watching when they were kids, and like I said, that's okay. You see that in the '80s, people influenced by the '50s and '60s. People now in the 2000s, 2010s, stuff in the '80s and '90s and early 2000s, and that's just the love letter to what brought us into that world.
Yeah,
you know so
yeah.
I appreciate that. It's good writing. So awesome. All right, well, Austin, we are approaching the end of the show, so let's get into the hardest questions you'll ever be asked.
Oh,
All right, what's
I
your
don't know if
favorite?
that's true.
No, it's not.
Last week I got some hardballs.
Oh, these are easy. But what is your favorite scary movie?
It's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my favorite. I mean, I, I know this is kind of lame, but I really like Get Out. I really like Get Out, and I really like The Quiet Place.
Mm-hmm.
I know those are like mainstream movies, but I really enjoyed them, you know. But as
Yeah.
far as some other ones that I like, you know, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a fun movie. I really like that one. And 10 Cloverfield Lane was
Yeah.
was really I liked it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
I like that feeling of like, well, fuck, what's next?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
We were doing an episode on we just did Cloverfield a little bit ago, but we did all the Hellraisers when the 2022 came out, and we dubbed it the Hellraiser syndrome because Hellraiser was the first franchise that we can think of that had stories that had nothing to do with Pinhead, and they tacked Pinhead on at the end. And then we realized that 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield Paradox have Hellraiser syndrome. They were completely separate movies that were added to the Cloverfield universe at the end.
So were they not really like written to be a part of the same thing, or they were just like,
They were
we
just
could
tacked
just
on. Yeah.
give it this name and
Mm-hmm.
it'll sell more?
Yep.
Is that what they did?
Yeah, because like Hellraiser 7 and 8 was completely different stories, and Pinhead was there for about a grand total. We timed it in two movies, 30 seconds.
That's impressive. You're gonna
So
cameo in your own movie, bro.
yeah, so essentially what happens is there's these other movies that kind of just sat there that were horror or thrillers that they go, this is never gonna get made. But what if Pinhead in it? Boom, Hellraiser movie.
Yeah. I feel like if I was gonna, even if I was gonna take another idea and be like, well, we could mash it up, I'd at least want to like weave it in there a little so it didn't feel
Yeah,
like that, you know?
yeah, that's the problem. That's why it's the Hellraiser syndrome. So,
Yeah, that's great. That's
all
great.
right, practical or CGI?
I like, I mean, honestly, I like practicals
Mm-hmm.
mostly, but I think CGI is good and it is good in certain instances, but I like practicals mostly, but some CGI can be okay. Uh, well, like green screen,
Mm-hmm.
CGI world a little bit, but I also like it when there's like actual practical set it with it or most
Yeah.
of it, and maybe like maybe there's some other bigger thing that's not like
Mm-hmm.
achievable in a studio or something. I like the mix of that, but like I can't really stand like this, CGI, like, oh, it's CGI guts or something, or
Well,
like, it
blood
just
is
kind of looks,
yeah, CGI blood on people still looks atrocious.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, in sometimes in a lower budget world, like, and depending on what's happening,
Yeah,
it it can be cost prohibitive in some ways. Not blood per se so much, but
yeah,
um yeah, I mean practicals
yeah.
definitely like look better in
Oh yeah,
most every situation.
yeah. And I think like with practical, in my opinion, in like the lower budget stuff is especially people that are character actors, you have scenery to work with. It's not that you have this imagination and then someone has to draw it in later. You're able to interact with people and physical objects on set that make for better moments, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Because you could be
yeah,
filming somewhere that, like, okay, because some of us do guerrilla running and shooting because we don't have all the permits for everything, but you can go, oh, I found this thing, this is interesting, it just happened to be something there. Like, you'd be shooting in the woods, oh, you find this random branch structure there. Okay, how do we incorporate this random thing that we didn't prepare for into the movie? I think you're able to do that better with being
yeah.
practical.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, but in the same token, I think sets can be really cool for, some things and like interesting,
Yeah.
um, extravagant sets or, I've got several scenes in the movie that are, green screen and
Hmm.
it's not obviously the whole like very small part of the movie, but
Yeah.
for a certain amount, like certain part of the story, there wasn't a real practical way for me to tell it.
Hmm.
Um, on the budget that I had, so I had to like create some shit.
Yeah. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not. CGI has its place for sure.
Yeah,
Stuff, but like, if if blood is being dumped on someone, dump blood on someone. you
yeah,
know, I think that to me it's more authentic. But if
yeah,
I don't think like some things are still good in CGI. There's stuff like the Void that Star Wars does, that Disney does, that looks great, but it's not the same thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. So, Austin, someone knocks on your door tomorrow morning and says, "Here's $1 million to make an existing a movie, an existing IP or franchise." What would that dream one be?
An existing franchise?
Yeah, like, do you want to, like, if you were given $1 million to write and direct, say, the next Saw movie or Texas Chainsaw, kind of what would that next French movie be for you?
Oh my God. Thought you said you weren't going to do any gotcha questions.
Like I said, for me, me personally, I'd love to do a Nightmare on Elm Street because I have an idea for Freddy Krueger that I think would work in today's and be a insight into
I'd
the
probably
brain
I'd
activity.
probably do Pontypool too. Not even lying.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because how many stories can exist in that part of Canada at that night?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of awesome movies out there that would be fun, I suppose, to do. I've never really thought about. I have honestly never ever given it any thought whatsoever to making some like directing some other franchise movie. So that was actually a foreign question. I've never even crossed my mind.
I like to ask people because a lot of people we have had worked with fan films, stuff like that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure. No, I mean it's a good question. I should actually think about it, and the next time I talk to you,
yeah,
I'll have a maybe a better answer.
yeah. Like I said, my idea and this trademarked Freddy Krueger is part of sleep paralysis.
Wait, say that again?
Your sleep paralysis is actually caused by Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So just a way
Gotcha.
to make him scary again, but also go into the whole idea of the satirical and societal norm of mental illness and stuff like that, and how that could play into it.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So, also, any advice for people getting into the field of whether acting or filmmaking or even in the band?
Advice. Well, I mean, if you're just getting into it, practice a lot. I think we had talked about, the iPhone thing, and
Mm-hmm.
just like, if that's all you got, do it with that, right? And definitely do it a bunch of times on a lower budget before you decide to, like, try to throw a bunch of money at something, because you need to learn. You need to have a lot of mistakes happen. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just you need to, because mistakes are going to happen, and you need to understand how to fix that while it's happening, and understand how to prepare for those things that are going to happen, and how to create redundancy in fixing that stuff, so that when your camera dies and you're on set, what are you going to do about it? Like,
Yep.
and what happens when your card's full? And you know what I mean? Like, those are simple things, but those are things that happen all the time, right? Like, oh
Mm-hmm.
fuck, our card's full, and the sun's going down. Like, so, without that experience, you're gonna, if you just go like, I'm gonna, like, take this $35,000 or whatever that I made working at my job this year, and I'm gonna make a movie, you're gonna have a bad time. So make a couple $2,000 movies, or make what's. I mean, that's sort of what shorts are for, I suppose,
Yeah.
too, is to help practice. But
Yeah, for sure.
I guess that's my advice.
Oh yeah, like I said, you can never prepare for everything that happens, but you're right. As long as you have some idea of a backup plan, because you're in film and they go, "Oh, my camera guy is not showing up, and he has the camera."
Yeah, and that has happened. Or you're somebody fucking catches a lav cord on something,
Yeah,
and now you're out of lav mic. So
yeah,
you know it's an expensive field to get in, because you got to have extra shit to back up the other stuff, or other people around with stuff. So um,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, you ready for your random horror trivia question?
Uh-oh, I'm not gonna do well at this. I'm terrible at trivia, but
It's
yes.
it's all good. You said everyone gets stumped, and it's okay. So after their friend was tragically killed, four friends reunite in a Scandinavian forest and stumble upon an ancient evil in what 2017 British horror film? If you haven't seen it, I suggest seeing it.
Um, yeah, I'm not. One, I'm terrible with names. Two, I probably haven't seen it. But you'll probably say the name, and I'll be like, "Oh, I heard of that." Anyways, what is it?
The Ritual.
I don't think that
You,
I saw that.
you should look it up if you like Scandinavian forest evil lore. It's right up your alley.
Ritual.
Yeah.
Who's in it? Because
Uh
it sounds really. Did I see this one? I'm gonna have to, like,
yeah.
watch it and then text you, because
I think it's really good. If you like creature features, the movie's for you.
okay. I'm gonna have to watch it. I pulled up the trailer here, and that'll remind me. Like I
Yes.
said, sometimes I watch a lot of horror movies drunk, and then
Mhm.
like, I
All
don't
right.
remember them all.
All good. All good. All right, Austin. So before we go, where can people find you if I will learn all about you? Give us your pluggables.
You can find me on Instagram at Austin Galante, on Facebook Austin Galante, YouTube. I think it's at a real Austin Galante, because I fucked up my first site, I think, or my first page, and had to make a new one. um, let's see what else is there. Threads. They're all at Austin Galante. You can also go to my production website, which is marshmallownapalm.com. And you can watch my first extremely low budget movie, Sweet Killing Machines, on there. In I'm hoping within the next 3 or 4 weeks, Sanguine Teeth on a Driftless Road, which is the new movie that I just finished. I'm currently spent the last 3 days so far doing captions for.
Ooh, those are
And
always fun.
then, oh, it's so horrible, so horrible. I had somebody else do it paid to have it done on the first movie, and I'm just like, I can't afford it because I gotta film I'm filming the new movie, and I just can't blow the money on that. So, oof, it's rough.
Mhm.
For a 2 hour and 14-minute movie, that is insanely dialogue heavy. It's like, was it 136-page script, I think. So I got a lot of typing to do. Um, once that's out, hopefully it'll be out in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Mhm.
And then it'll be streaming online. But if you go to my Instagram or Facebook or whatever, like, I will definitely be posting about when it's available. I think people are gonna like it. It's it's a really funny movie. I mean, it's like kind of nonstop humor. I got a lot of comedians in it. I got Charlie Mack is in it. He just won golden ticket on Kill Tony,
Mhm.
and Jason Horton is
Yeah.
actually in it.
Oh,
We have
wow.
a scene. It's his first time acting, like
Uh-huh.
acting for a real scene,
Mhm.
and so it turned out really funny. Um, uh, Jason Rouse is in it. He's a pretty like dirty comedian. He
Mhm.
tours internationally and stuff. He's going to be playing Copenhagen um, in a couple weeks. Um, and then Matt Kenner's in it. Matt Kenner's very funny. He's a good friend of mine. Like all the actors are really funny. There's a lot of good charisma and yeah, it's just this is what I say, and I've heard this in only a couple people have seen the movie so far who were like interviewers.
Mhm.
One of them was someone who I submitted it to a film festival, and they were one of the people who watched it or whatever. But
Yeah.
they were all like, "Ugh, 2 hours and 14 minutes for an indie film." And I knew that was going to be the case. I knew it was. I knew people were
Mhm.
going to be like, "Hey, I don't want to." Ooh, that's a long time. But this is what I say, just watch it for 30 minutes. I promise you. I mean, if you don't like it, just shut it the fuck off. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna be laughing because it's a lot of funny shit.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited. When it comes out, we'll have to have you either back on here or one of the other shows who's actually in the chat right now. We do an interview show. We can just talk about the
Was
movie.
that KB Love that I saw? Or what was I saw oh
Uh,
no.
that one.
Okay. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's just
Love Kill
35.
Tony. This is during that's the
Okay.
hat I'm wearing because I'm all
Oh, it's
about hat. I'm also a host there too. So it's just another show.
gotcha.
I wear my own merch. I'm not ashamed of
I just saw the comment
it. Mhm.
down there. I didn't yeah,
Oh yeah.
so it popped up and anyways, yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I as an independent creator myself, I support indie at all times. That's why I do this show is to talk to people like yourself in the indie world and just to learn behind the scenes. So, I've had so many people on the show. My podcast I do movie reviews is always separate. I keep my two worlds separate. I'll bash M. Night Shyamalan all day long, but this show is for respect for independent.
Oh,
All right. Well, thank you, Austin, very much for coming on the special episode of Conversations in the Void. We'll see you next
yeah,
time. And follow us on all social media at Pod Out Night for all the news that we have coming out here relatively soon. So, till then, good night.
I appreciate it. Thank you.